Welcome back from your ad break. We're going to carry on looking at the ages of the Earth, which is looking at a period in geological time when different types of animals actually dominated or ruled the Earth. Next era we're looking at is the Mesozoic era, which is divided into 3 periods, and all 3 of these periods are considered the age of reptiles. First period is the Triassic period, which lasted 50 million years, and conditions then were hot and dry with low levels of oxygen. Animals which could thrive in this dry environment, reptiles. So a variety of reptiles developed, including the first small dinosaur. Okay, and here he is, the size of a dog. But his relatives were soon to take over the earth. Next is the well-known Jurassic period. And in the Jurassic period, which lasted more or less 50 million years, dinosaurs ruled the earth. A huge variety of different types of dinosaurs developed, and I'm sure from this picture you recognize some of them. You might even have had some of these as plastic toys when you were little. If we look at that one, I'm sure everybody knows what that is. That is a T-Rex. This one here, absolutely huge. That's the Diplodocus, biggest dinosaur. And if you have a look, here's a model of a Diplodocus, and it reached up to 35 meters in length. They were huge. But interestingly enough, they were herbivores, so they weren't fearsome at all. Also in this period, lots of different looking dinosaurs developed, and we know quite a lot about them because many complete fossil dinosaurs of different types have been found, and as you can see in the picture, the bones have all been excavated and they've been put together in museums, and this just gives you an indication of how large those dinosaurs were. The last of the Mesozoic periods in the age of the reptiles was the Cretaceous period. And dinosaurs still ruled the earth, but the most ferocious is the Tyrannosaurus rex, which is 12 meters long. And it had 60 serrated teeth, and each tooth was about 25 centimeters long. That's more or less the length of a ruler. And as you can see, they were pretty sharp because these were ferocious predators. Many skeletons of Tyrannosaurus rex have been found, and I've just put in this picture just to give you an idea. If you look at the tables and things in the background, it gives you an idea of how huge they were and how deadly their teeth must have been. Now, also in the Cretaceous period, a tiny little mammal developed. Okay, and it was basically about the size of a rat. And of course, because dinosaurs were huge, these little rat-like creatures managed to hide away and survive without being affected by these predaceous dinosaurs. Also in the Cretaceous period, a small dinosaur called Archaeopteryx occurred, and it actually had wings and feathers. And we know that it actually had feathers because they have found good fossils showing that even though its body was more like a dinosaur, it had wings and feathers. And this indicates, which scientists now believe, that birds evolved from dinosaurs. In fact, dinosaurs are more similar to birds than they are to the other reptiles that exist today. At the end of the Cretaceous period, there was a mass extinction, and it killed off all the dinosaurs and many other species. And we'll have a look at a later lesson what could actually have caused this to happen. But scientists know that it did happen, and all those extremely large dinosaurs did not exist after that extinction event. We then moved into the Cenozoic era. That's from 65 million years ago, and that is called the Age of Mammals. Only small animals survived the mass extinction, and because all the dinosaurs were now dead, there were lots of empty habitats, so they diversified to fill the empty habitats. And that led to the development of an amazing variety of different types of mammals. This diagram shows artists' impressions of what some of those mammals looked like. Remember, this isn't the artist's imagination, it's based on fossils that have actually been found and worked on by scientists. Then, even though it's called the Age of Mammals, birds also evolved. And a good example is this 2-meter large bird, and it was termed the terror bird because it was such a vicious predator. Throughout the continents, different mammal groups developed, and most of those mammals were marsupials, which means they feed their babies milk, but the baby develops in the pouch and not inside the body. Some of them looked a bit like primitive types of horses. Then we also find the largest land mammal ever, 3 times as big as an elephant. And they didn't have to worry because nothing much ever tried to eat them. In the Cenozoic period, we also find that some mammals return to the water. And this is an example of a fossil which has been found, and they call it the walking whale. And they reckon that animals like this were the ancestors of the whales and dolphins which we find on the earth today. Another very interesting one is called the hell pig. And from shoulder to floor, it was 1.8 meters, the size of a grown man. And just look at those teeth. Okay, no wonder they called it a hell pig. It was a vicious predator, but interestingly enough, though it looks like a pig, it's not related to the pigs which occur today. Then, I'm sure you're familiar with this. If you've ever watched the Ice Age movies, here we have mammoths. Okay, and the mammoths thrived closer towards the end of the Cenozoic period because at that stage, you can see in the background, there was a period of global cooling. Throughout the Cenozoic periods, there were several ice ages for 10 million years, then it warmed up again, then the habitats became more tropical, then there was another ice age. And what this did is it produced many different habitats so that animals can become adapted to the many different habitats. And scientists believe that this is one of the reasons that there are so many different mammals and so many different living organisms on the earth today because of the variety of different habitats. Also, towards the end of the Cenozoic era, in the last 4 million years, saw the rise of hominids. Okay, now hominids are primitive humans. If you've ever been to Marapeng or Sterkfontein caves, you will have learnt about hominids or primitive or early humans. And they started arising about 4 million years ago. Then, 200,000 years ago, modern humans arose. And ever since then, we have become the dominant animal on Earth. And one of the reasons is, even though we don't have sharp teeth, and even though we don't have big muscles, we have a brain. And we could use the brain to help small family groups, like in this one, to survive. I hope you have found this little peek into the ages of the earth interesting, and I sincerely hope it helps your understanding of the history of life. See you next time.